It was close and it was grindy, but I knew Movsar Evloev was going to be able to come out on top against Aljamain Sterling, and he cashes as our UFC 310 lock of the night play. We also had our OKTAGON 64 lock of the night come through for us. So that makes us go 2-0 over the weekend, which now increases our lock of the night record for 2024 to 86-41 for a 20.81 unit profit and a 3% ROI. Again, not the greatest ROI. Happy to be in the green still, but definitely not close to the goal that I had earlier this year, which was closer to that 50 unit mark. So, but still happy with the green. We'll take it as it is. I got another three lock of the night candidates for you guys for this weekend's UFC Tampa card, which is the last of the UFC events this year. Reminder, there is also two more events going down, or three events on top of the UFC going down this weekend, which I'll also be covering. We have the PFL Europe card, which I'll drop a full card YouTube breakdown for on Thursday, so stay tuned for that. But I also have Cage Warriors and ACA going down, which I'll only have in written form on the Lock of the Night Patreon page, and most likely I should have a lock of the night play for all three of those regional shows as well. So you can find that all out on the Lock of the Night Patreon page. Otherwise, I got three candidates for this UFC Tampa card. Only one of them can be the official Lock of the Night play, which I dropped earlier today on the Lock of the Night Patreon, so you can check that out to see what it is. Or you can drop a comment in the comment section below and take a guess or state what your Lock of the Night play is for UFC Tampa. All right, let's get right into this bad boy. First candidate up that I got for you guys is going to be Sean Woodson, coming in at -150 as he goes up against the ever-dangerous Fernando Padilla. Now, Woodson is the long, lanky striker coming from a boxing background, and it has transitioned relatively well to the MMA game as he is 12-1-1 over his 14 fights. He does a great job in terms of utilizing his range and establishing that power jab straight up the middle and utilizing some front kicks to maintain that range. He does a great job in terms of rolling with big shots, and I think he's going to do that here against Padilla, who has shown trouble against guys that are technically better strikers than him. As long as Woodson can avoid that early finishing power of Padilla, I do believe that Woodson can do a good enough job in terms of giving us a classic Sean Woodson performance, output, volume, and footwork, distance management, utilizing all those good things from range and getting his hand raised by decision. But as long as he gets his hand raised outright, that's all that matters to us, and hopefully cashing as a -150 lock of the night play. The second candidate up is going to be Daniel Marcos, coming in at -185. This 16-0 prospect goes up against former hype train Adrian Yanez, who is now 1-2 over his last three fights, successfully snapping that 2-fight losing streak last time around with a win over Vinicius Salvador. But once again, he's facing a very tricky striker here in Daniel Marcos, who utilizes a great calf kick, something that has been the kryptonite of Yanez's game in the past, specifically in that Jonathan Martinez fight. And I think Marcos can replicate that type of performance and then let his hands go behind that. But I do think it will ultimately lead to a knockout or a TKO mercy stoppage in favor of Daniel Marcos here. So look for him to really touch up Yanez, keep him on the defensive, but really butcher that lead leg. And even if Yanez wants to switch up stances, I think Marcos can attack the secondary leg as well if he needs to as well. So I'm going to go Marcos here. Marcos straight up -185 as a potential lock of the night candidate. The third and final lock of the night candidate I have for you guys is going to be Vitor Petrino, coming in at -310 as he goes up against Dustin Jacoby. Now, Jacoby obviously coming off two straight losses now, 1-4 over his last five fights. But I think his one issue is going to showcase here, which will allow Vitor Petrino to get a pretty easy victory. And I believe that is the striking defense flaws. Now, technically speaking, Dustin Jacoby is the better striker here, but he does often have some brain farts that often leave openings for opponents to land big shots on him. That's how Mirza Khanov was able to land those big shots and ultimately win the decision. That's how Alonzo Menafield only won 5% of that fight, but still went on to win the unanimous decision that night because of those big shots that he was landing. And then ultimately how Dominic Reyes was able to counter Dustin Jacoby and knock him out here. I think Petrino can take command of this fight from jump, and I think he'll be able to land those big shots on Jacoby and eventually get him out of there. And I don't mind the chalk on him here either at -310. So only one of these can be the official lock of the night play for UFC Tampa. Check the Lock of the Night Patreon page to find out what it is, or drop your guess in the comments section below. All right, I'll see you guys again tomorrow for the top 3 Dog of the Night candidates for UFC Tampa. See you guys then. Peace.